With the new year just a few days away, I want to share with you as quickly as I can the 3-step process that I followed for the past 6 years to help me not only create better goals, but actually stick to those goals, and in every year since, reach almost all of my New Year's resolutions. This video isn't about creating a little random to-do list of things that make you feel good. It's about setting serious and achievable goals and then building the habits and routines into your life to allow you to reach those goals and then go on to do incredible things next year. So that's what you're here for. Stick around, and in the next 7 or 8 minutes, we're going to go through the entire process together. And we need to begin with understanding what you actually want to achieve in life, because too often we pull New Year's resolutions out of thin air based on some sort of mimetic desire of what other people want in their life, right? So you might wake up on New Year's Day and think, I want to lose weight, I want to do couch to 5K, I want to save X amount of money, without really thinking what that means for you and your life. So at the very beginning of this video, it'd be a good idea to just pause for a few seconds now and ask yourself, what do you actually want to achieve next year? What kind of person do you want to become? What life do you want to live? How do you want to feel next year? What do you want to do more of? What do you want to do less of? Think about it for a few minutes and write down whatever comes to your mind. A good rule here is if it floats into the top of your mind very easily, it's probably something that has been somewhere in your mind for a while, something that is true to you. Pause this video and make a list of the things that you broadly want to achieve next year. And then once you've done that, we're going to collate some of these ideas together and categorize them. It's a good idea to have at least 1 or 2 goals in a bunch of different areas of life, because if all of your goals are related to, say, fitness, and then you get an injury in February, well, then the rest of your year is ruined. If all of your goals are related to work, but then to work really hard, you neglect your health, well then the progress you make next year will be pointless. So it's really important that you have a bunch of goals relating to things like your fitness and your finances and your career and your family and your away time and your hobbies and your contribution to the world, and even a few things that scare you, a couple of items on this list that you kind of feel a bit uncomfortable writing down because you know that a future version of you is going to have to somehow do them, right? Pause the video again, look at all of the things that you've so far written down, maybe add some more if you felt inspired in the last minute or so, and then try to put them into categories or buckets so that broadly across your entire life, next year, you're going to be moving everything forward at an even pace. Okay, if you've got that, this is where the next step comes in. So you're going to look at all of the goals that you've set for next year. This is your working to-do list of goals. And by the way, just very quickly, you don't need to do all of this in the however many minutes long this video is. You can absolutely come back and watch it again over a few days to make sure that the things in this list really are what you want to be doing. I'm just trying to rush through this to save you time because the headline process is quite simple, but this might take you a few days. But anyway, look at the items on your list, and then they need to be measurable and they need to be really obvious statements, right? So if your goal relates to weight loss, your goal is not lose weight. Your goal is not eat less food. Your goal is lose 2 stone before July. Your goal is be able to fit back into your favorite outfit that you can no longer fit into. If it's finances, your goal isn't spend a bit less money. Your goal is pay off your credit cards by November, or your goal is save £10,000 by August, right? They need to be directly and objectively measurable, because if your goals are not measurable, they are not goals. They're just a random wish list of thoughts that you cannot measure, therefore you cannot take action towards, therefore you're not going to reach. It is crucially important at this point in the video that every single item on that list of things you want to do next year is a statement, is a full sentence, and within that sentence, exactly what you want to achieve and by when is within it. So pause the video again and go and do that. And then this is when things get interesting, because most people would leave New Year's resolutions at this point, if they even get this far, right? Maybe they left it with some wishy-washy goals, but not you, you've got this far. But you're not going to leave it here, because a big long shopping list of things you want to do that you look at today and then maybe revisit a few days in January when you're feeling motivated is great. But the problem is you're not going to feel motivated. The version of you who you are today is not going to be the same version who is responsible for dragging you towards these goals. And what I mean by that is, at this time of year, it's really easy to feel relaxed and calm because it's Christmas, or motivated because it's almost the new year, or in a clear mindset because you're watching a video like this and you're thinking about your goals. But before you know it, it's going to be a rainy Tuesday morning in April and some shit has gone down in your life and you do not have the motivation, you do not have the willpower, you do not have the discipline to think about all of these random goals that you put into a Word document a few months back. So we need to change that to make sure that you hit your goals this year. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create daily and weekly measurable habits and then turn those into a process that you're going to follow every single day. And so the process here is quite simple. That's not to suggest that reaching your goals is going to be easy, but the process to reach them is simple. You're going to do this. Look at the first item on your list. Read out the full statement that you have written and then ask yourself this question. What kind of person do you need to become relative to who you are now to be the person who achieves that goal within the next 12 months? Think about the kind of person who achieves that goal. Think about their daily lives, their routines, their habits, the things that they do on autopilot to move themselves towards that goal. Because we're going to turn you into that person. We're going to create a framework for your life that will turn you into that person. And when you become that person, you will reach that goal. So for example, let's take the example of weight loss again, because it's the one that we seem to be rolling with in this video. If you want to lose X amount of weight by Y date, there are some things that you're going to need to do, right? Now, unless you've watched an Eddie Abu video that's shouted at you that you shouldn't count calories, one of the things you should probably be doing is using an app like MyFitnessPal or LifeSum to track your daily calorie intake. And you're going to work that out using a calorie calculator to understand your maintenance calories based on your height and your weight and your movement. And then using that maintenance, you're going to be in a slight deficit so that most of the time you can be eating in a calorie deficit, burning more calories than you consume, and therefore losing a slight bit of weight every day. But of course, there is more to it than that. You may also need to be tracking things like the daily number of steps you do, right? If you're currently doing 2,000 steps a day because you sit at a desk all day at work and then drive to and from that desk, then you need to get more movement in. So maybe another one of your daily habits to move towards that goal is every day this year, you're going to aim, whether it's sunny or raining outside, to do a minimum of 7,500 steps. Now, of course, these goals and these habits are examples, but of course you get the idea that for each of those statements on your list, there will be some small daily repeatable actions that you can be taking that on day 1 will make no difference. On day 10 will make no difference, but on day 365, once you've joined those habits up for the majority of the year, once you've eaten in a slight calorie deficit and moved more and been more mindful about your food or saved more money or taken more chances or worked on that skill for enough days in a row, once you've worked backwards from each of those goals, from each of those statements to create daily habits and then follow those habits, that's exactly how you're going to change your life next year. Because the majority of New Year's resolutions are dead on their feet before they begin. Most people think that they fail their New Year's resolutions on like the 16th of January, but that's unfortunately not true. Most people fail their New Year's resolutions the second they write them down on a note in their phone, because they're setting themselves up to fail. You should not think of them as New Year's resolutions. You should think of them as New Year's habits. And there are any number of ways that you can track these habits. You can build a little template in Google Sheets. You can use something like Notes on your phone to have a little daily tick list. There are a bunch of habit tracking apps out there. How you track these habits is secondary to the fact that you actually track them, to the fact that more days than not, you're doing these positive things, right? So then let's rewind all the way back to the beginning and try and summarize this in 60 seconds before you go and actually get on with this yourself. Number 1, you're going to write a broad list of the things that you think you'd like to do next year. Number 2, you're then going to review that list and try and categorize it to make sure that all of the areas of your life are moving forward at the same time next year, so you're not leaving anything behind. Third, once you've done that, you're going to change each of those messy and non-specific goals into clear and measurable statements. Then number 4, you're going to ask yourself, who is the kind of person who achieves the thing that I'm aiming for in this statement? And then number 5, you're going to make a list of those habits that you can do every day or every week repeatedly on autopilot to become that person and to hit those goals. I promise you, if you follow this process for the next year of your life, you can transform your life. And you can do it without even realizing it. The progress will creep up on you. You will sleepwalk into positively changing your life. This is the only way I know to set New Year's resolutions that stick. This is the only way I know to change lives. And I know it works because I have done this every year for 6 years in my life. And today, as I sit here, my life is immeasurably different to what it was 6 years ago. Immeasurably better. Follow this process, stick to it as much as you can for as long as you can. And I promise you, when you're back here this time next year, you will be a fundamentally different person with a much, much better life. Go do it. Happy New Year.